thing that raised some eyebrows with people is when I dropped the information about Quincy Jones. I let the chips fall wherever they fall.
That's right.
This dude was one of the ones responsible. He had a magazine financed by Warner Brothers and the rest of them. He set up rings in Hollywood.
Sadly, the legendary Quincy Jones recently passed away. True to Hollywood, he's now trending not just for his remarkable legacy, but for other buzzworthy stories surrounding him. If you remember, Quincy was one of the people who distanced himself from Diddy and even made some comments about him in the past. But with the news of his passing, many are also celebrating him as one of the true originals, someone who paved the way and influenced stars like Diddy.
I don't know if you remember this. We asked Mo Preem Shakur, about this audio. I don't know if you ever heard this audio a long time ago with Tupac. I can't find it nowhere now, but he was pretty much saying, I don't know if it was to one of those guys.
It was Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones, right?
Oh, yeah.
Quincy Jones wanted to, in that. He offered to Tupac in that, uncensored over here. Do you ever hear anything about that?
Well, that was the reason that Tupac met Kadada.
Right.
One of the daughters took offense to it.
Yeah.
And was mad about that. His other daughter. And Pac went to apologize for saying that to him. And he didn't realize that it wasn't Kadada. It was another daughter that had responded to him about that. And Pac went to man up and apologized for making that statement about Quincy. Now Quincy was there. Quincy, Will and Tevin Campbell and all of that, for people that's not from the 90s, those allegations was out there about Quincy.
Before we dive into the recent buzz, let's take a moment to remember the incredible impact Quincy Jones had on the industry and explore a bit about his life and passing. Quincy rose from challenging beginnings on the south side of Chicago, where he once ran with gangs, to become a Hollywood powerhouse and one of the first Black executives to thrive in show business. His music catalog is legendary, especially his collaborations with Michael Jackson, which began with Off the Wall in 1979, a record that sold around 20 million copies worldwide. He followed it up with Thriller, which brought home Album of the Year and Record of the Year for Billie Jean. Thriller remains the best-selling album of all time, with over 110 million copies sold globally. But Quincy didn't just work with MJ. He collaborated with icons like Frank Sinatra, Dinah Washington, Miles Davis, Nat King Cole, and many more. In addition to music, Quincy also made waves on television. He was an executive producer for The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, the show that made Will Smith a household name, and went on to produce other TV projects like In the House and Mad TV, and documentaries like The History of Rock and Roll and Keep On Keepin' On. Quincy also founded Vibe magazine, a respected hip-hop publication that even got its own TV spin-off in 1997. A few days ago, Quincy passed away at 91, surrounded by family at his Bel Air home, as confirmed by his publicist, Arnold Robinson. His family released a heartfelt statement saying, "With full but broken hearts, we share the news of our father and brother Quincy Jones's passing. Although this is an incredible loss for our family, we celebrate the extraordinary life he lived and know there will never be another like him. His love and joy touched the world through his music, and Quincy's heart will beat for eternity." The cause of his passing hasn't been disclosed, but Quincy previously faced serious health challenges. In 1974, at just 41, he almost died from a brain aneurysm, undergoing multiple surgeries to save his life. He shared on Facebook that he even attended a memorial service his friends had planned for him, believing he wouldn't survive. Doctors warned him against playing the trumpet to avoid dislodging metal clips in his brain, though he famously struggled to give it up. Alongside the news of his passing, Quincy's name has been trending for other reasons. Some may recall his past comments on Diddy. He once said that Diddy wouldn't know a B-flat if it hit him, but acknowledged Diddy's talent for impressing people and his success as a businessman. Later, Quincy clarified his comments on Facebook, saying he had nothing but love and respect for Diddy, which he still maintained. Quincy's legacy also includes a connection with Tupac Shakur, who once criticized Quincy for his interracial relationships. Tupac later apologized, and he and Quincy's daughter, Kidada, started dating. Though Quincy initially wasn't supportive, he eventually accepted their relationship. Rumors have since swirled about conversations Quincy and Tupac supposedly had, and some claim to have heard audio of Tupac alleging Quincy made advances toward him. While this audio hasn't surfaced, former death row bodyguard Reggie White Jr. has said he heard the rumor. Quincy Jones's life was complex, filled with achievements, challenges, and personal connections that continue to inspire conversations. His extraordinary contributions to music, television, and culture make him truly unforgettable.
I don't know if you remember this. We asked Mo Preem Shakur, about this audio. I don't know if you ever heard this audio a long time ago with Tupac. I can't find it nowhere now. But he was pretty much saying, I don't know if it was a Clive Davis or one of those guys.
It was Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones, right?
Oh, yeah.
Quincy Jones wanted to, in that. He offered to Tupac in that, uncensored over here. Do you ever hear anything about that?
Well, that was the reason that Tupac met Kadada.
Right.
One of the daughters took offense to it.
Yeah.
And was mad about that, his other daughter. And Pac went to apologize for saying that to him. And he didn't realize that it wasn't Kadada, it was another daughter that had responded to him about that. And Pac went to man up and apologized for making that statement about Quincy. Now Quincy was there. Quincy, Will and Tevin Campbell and all of that, people that's not from the 90s, those allegations was out there about Quincy.
I know some of you may be wondering about these rumors surrounding Quincy Jones and Tupac, especially given Tupac's relationship with Quincy's daughter, Kidada. Allegedly, the dynamic between them wasn't as straightforward as it might seem. There are two different stories about where Kidada was on the night Tupac was shot. One version suggests that Tupac asked Kidada to stay back at the hotel to keep her safe, sensing possible trouble. Another version implies that Tupac wanted some space that night, hinting that their relationship may not have been as serious as some think. While they were reportedly engaged, some of Tupac's friends have suggested that it wasn't as close to engagement as it appeared. These rumors go further, suggesting that Quincy might have made advances toward Tupac, which Tupac allegedly refused. Some even speculate Quincy may have been involved in a plot against Tupac. When Quincy was asked in an interview with the New York Times about his alleged involvement in Tupac's death or these rumors of advances, he denied it, saying, "This is the biggest age of haters I've ever seen in my life. Imagine my daughter being engaged to Tupac and me trying to make love to him. I'm not into men, man. I'm a hardcore lesbian. Are you kidding?" Other stories include a time Johnny Mac mentioned on Foxhole Radio that Quincy allegedly invited him into a room during a party. While he didn't elaborate further, he later brought it up again, though the details remain vague, and recordings of the interview seem to have disappeared. Professor Griff has also spoken about Quincy in this context, suggesting he was influential in setting up connections within Hollywood and mentioning an alleged audio recording of Tupac discussing Quincy, which has also mysteriously disappeared. Whether true or not, these stories continue to add layers to Quincy Jones's already complex legacy, stirring up conversations and speculations about his life and relationships in Hollywood.
When Tupac came to Hollywood, it was the homosexual ritual. This is where the homosexuals came out against it, but I didn't mind. I wasn't talking about homosexuals. I'm saying there's a homosexual ritual that they go through in the Illuminati secret societies, and it is. So when I mentioned that about it marrying itself on to hip-hop, they said, well, can you prove it? Yeah. Go back and go online and read where Tupac said he was asked by Quincy Jones to f*** him in the ass. When Tupac said no, that's when Tupac was marked for death. Why? Because Tupac was engaged to Quincy Jones's daughter. Quincy Jones's daughter was best friend was Aaliyah. Aaliyah was engaged to Dame Dash. Now, if y'all follow these people back, all of them either died or was brought to...
Let's not forget that Quincy made some eye-raising comments in his *GQ* interview, where he talked about the inches of another man, saying, "Come on, they were good-looking guys. They all had the girls they wanted, and they showed you how to deal with it. So did Rubirosa, the king of the Playboys. Amazing man. What a guy, 11 inches long." Some believe comments like this are why Quincy's own character has been called into question, even as he was cautioning people about Diddy. This whole situation is definitely something to think about. What do you all think? Was Quincy similar to Diddy, or was he genuinely trying to give a heads up?